Ark 2, the dino game that never came out and was shown for a split second and taken away from us that quickly. Seems like it's pretty much never going to release. The only thing said about the release date is that it was indicated for June 2025 and that it might occur in 2027, so they really have no idea. It seems like Ascended is basically Ark 2 at this point, and it's pretty much seems like it's kind of been an abandoned project almost completely. I think the plan was for Ascended to possibly fund the project. It almost seems like they went, we need some funding. How do we get more money? Well, let's release Ascended and resell Ark to everybody. Except a lot of people did not buy Ascended, and a lot of them stayed on Evolved. Why? Well, why would we buy another game that's not finished? Because Evolved never got finished. And Ascended still has bugs. Of course, I bought Ascended. I did, and I like Ascended. I do. It's got a lot of pluses to it, but again, it is buggy, and there's a lot of reasons why players stayed behind on the Evolved game. They didn't really see a reason to hop on the new one, and I feel like the new one's turned a lot of people away with the Bob's DLCs and the, quite frankly, pay-to-win stuff. There was a lot of pay-to-win objects, if I'm going to be honest. If you're doing PvP, it's not really fair. PvE doesn't really matter. Single player obviously doesn't really matter. But for the PvP players, Ark 2 kind of sucks if you're not looking to put some money into it. Also, not Ark 2, Ascended. Ark 2 might as well be Ark 3 at this point. I really don't see Ark 2 ever coming. And keep in mind, this is going to be made by Snail Games. Well, Snail Games made Atlas, the Forgotten Pirate game that I'm bummed about it going the way it did, because I'm one of the few that probably actually liked Atlas. I think it had a lot of potential. It was just poorly developed, and they just kind of ditched it. If they came back and they fixed it, it could honestly be a good game. Atlas could still be a good game if they didn't just completely abandon it. It's been completely abandoned, like it never even existed. Evolve's been completely abandoned even. Evolved has been really just thrown out into the dumpster with everything that's been going on with the new Aquatica, which was just poorly designed, another way to get money. Snail Games at this point is just trying to get some cash flow. I don't think they have the cash flow to make Ark 2. And even if you look at the stock market for Snail Games, it's really not doing good. The Snail Games Incorporated stock market is at 0.93 USD. That is just abysmal, and they are based in California. The stock isn't worth anything. The stock market for Snail Games is completely crashed. Even looking at the max duration, it has not done good in a long time. Snail Games is not doing well, and I don't really foresee the company surviving at the direction that it's going. So Ark 2 will probably not be made, to be honest, looking at it. I think that's why it's been pushed off so long, and that's why they've done these DLCs and Aquatica and all these other things, is because the company's not surviving, and they bought Wildcard. Other than Ark, which is, again, it was made by Wildcard originally, Snail Games has not made an actual good game. I mean, Ascended, I would count as a good game, but Ascended is just a blatant copy of Evolved. So Snail Games has not made a single actual game that's actually held up. And I don't think they're going to. I think at this point, Ark needs to be bought and taken over by another company. It would actually be beneficial for Snail Games to fully go under. They're just barely riding along the tides. They're basically sailing a Atlas ship that has a hole in one side, and the other side has a few boards just kind of barely holding it up, and they're just chucking water out with buckets consistently. This thing's not even really floating. It's basically sinking, but it's just they're moving the water out just fast enough that it somehow stays afloat. It's just a sinking Atlas battleship at this point. And I got a new DLC for Ascended as well, which is Lost Colony. I think that's another just money grab. I think they're trying to get any amount of money they can possible, and that's why it's going the way it is. They're going bankrupt, and it seems to be pretty obvious at this point that Ark is not going to really make it big like it once did. Because the big times where Ark was getting a lot of content was when Wildcard had DLCs and things were going well, but it just hasn't been the same game in a long time. And I haven't made gameplay footage of it recently at all, and that's because the mods are difficult to play co-op with, as every time they need updates, it takes forever to update the mods. They consistently need to be updated on both ends, and even if they're updated, sometimes they go into errors and have to reinstall. And the whole way mods work in this game, they're easy to add, but they're difficult to use when it comes to co-op, which is why I haven't done a lot of gameplay videos. So the gameplay's kind of died out, and also Ark isn't the best performing game on my channel unless I do mod overviews. The thing that does best on my channel is FPS stuff, which for obvious reasons, I'm dominantly a gun tuber, so it makes sense that FPS stuff would be what does good on my channel. So I'm going a little more towards Battlefield content at this point, especially with Evolved as a whole just kind of going downhill. I don't really see where this game's going at this point, and I don't really see what the future is for it, besides it getting bought by another company. Snail Games buying out Wildcard was absolutely the worst thing that happened to this game. I think everybody agrees with that. I don't think there's a single person that's going to disagree with that. The problem is, I don't know what's going to happen at this point, because we aren't going to get another game or really any solid, solidified content if it's being made by a company that's barely staying afloat as is. So unless it gets bought out, I don't really see it going anywhere. I mean, we might get Ark 2, but even if we do, I don't think it's in the budget for it to be a actual decent dino game, and it's never going to replace what Ascended or even Evolved is. And it's, from the sound of it, it's basically going to be a single player, third-person game where you play as Vin Diesel or whatever. I don't even think it's really an Evolved game. It seems like it's more of a story player game than it is a survival game. I don't think there's really a big picture of what this game's supposed to be. I think it was just an idea that they threw up, and it just, the funds weren't there, so we made Ascended. Because originally Ascended was not supposed to be an entire new game that you bought. It was supposed to be basically, I mean, at first they said it was a free remaster, from what I remember. They said it was supposed to be like a free thing that you'd get if you already had Evolved. Then they changed that, probably because they needed funding. And luckily the DLC maps are free this time around. So at least they did that. But I don't know if that really helped them much. They probably lost more money that direction, which is why they're doing all these Bob's DLCs, and then now people complain that's not the same game as Evolved, because the Bob's DLCs are making the game completely like a different game, which when I play Scorched Earth, I basically feel like I'm playing Red Dead, but it's Ark with dinos. That's what it feels like. It's like they kind of put two games together. I like it though. I personally like the Tall Tales DLC. I do like the DLC. I know a lot of people don't, and I get why. There's a lot of pay to win stuff in there, like the creatures. I mean, don't even get me started on the Pyromane. The Pyromane is unfathomably ridiculous, and I think everybody can agree that's a pay to win creature, big time. I mean, that is 100%. They try to put everything into this creature and make it like the best thing ever, to everybody would buy it. Any of the fantastic tames are gonna just be stupidly just ridiculous. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're cool, but there's a certain point where they're pushing the line a little bit with it, and I think it's because, yeah, they need funding. So, I don't really see us getting another game, and if we do, it's not anytime soon. It's just another one of those throw-in projects. Snail Games also created another game, which I'll throw up here. It's a VR version of Ark, which is basically the Jurassic Park version. It's kind of it was a good idea, in hindsight, I think it was just poorly implemented. I think the idea was they were trying to see if there was any demand for VL, which is VL's great, but it's a long ways from being prepared for a full input game like Ark. I mean, the Forest is great in it. Don't get me wrong, the Forest in VL is great. I would like Ark in VL, but it's something that they just don't. They're not going to do. There just wasn't a lot of selling demand for the VL Dino game, so I think that kind of got scrapped. But to be honest, the VL Dino game was very much just an arcade shooter, which I don't think that's what players were looking for. It's not a survival game by any means. It's a FPS arcade shooter, which is very different from the other games they make. So there's a reason that didn't go anywhere. I personally like the game. I would like to go back and play it. I just didn't get a lot of views on my channel for it, so I kind of took a step back from it. If you guys want more gameplay though, I'm for it. I just don't see a reason to if people don't want to watch it. That's why I stopped making it, because I personally like the game. I just don't really see a point to hop into it and do gameplay when I have other videos that do better. But my point is, Snail Games has a lot of ideas that just are overpromised and they fall flat. They really do. They have a lot of games that just hasn't gone anywhere. They also have another game called Myth of Empires, which use a lot of the code from Ark as well, which led to it being removed from Steam. So they've done a lot of stuff that just hasn't worked out. And they've got a lot of criticism for using AI-generated trailers like Aquatica, and there has been a very much decline of the player base for this game. I mean, even looking at my channel, you can see that I pretty much don't make that much alt content anymore. It's not that I have an issue with the game, it's just that they aren't running it well. And their updates sometimes completely just break the game. So it's just, I mean, they're getting greedy at this point, which is what a lot of people say, but they're doing that because they're about to go bankrupt. If you just look at the stock market, the companies they have to be greedy. They don't have a choice because they literally are about to go under and they just need to sell. They just need to sell it. They should just sell it at this point. Honestly, that would be the best thing for players. Snail Games are not going to make this turnaround. They don't know how to make a good game. I'm surprised Ascended even works as well as it does, to be honest, because Snail Games doesn't know how to do anything anymore. And I don't know if they ever did. Looking at their history in the gaming space, I don't think they really ever did know how to do much of anything. So, but anyways, comment your thoughts down below. You think we're actually going to ever get Ark 2, or is that just a blatant hope that they have that's just never going to happen? So, yeah, I mean, comment your thoughts down below. I don't really see this game going anywhere in reality. And I will see you in the next video. I don't know when I will do another Ark video, but when I do, I do. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.